Hi, I'm Mike. I'm the owner of this car. It's currently for sale on eBay right now. It's a 2003 e46 M3. This video is just going to be a little video about the pros and cons, the highlights of this vehicle, areas that may need some work, areas that are in great condition. We'll start on the outside, then we'll work our way inside. Again, the outside of the car is very stock. Only deviations from that are small ones, like the painted corner lights here, the EAS Motorsport ZZP style wheels, front and rear. Only deviation that these wheels have that's different from the stock wheels that came in the ZZP cars is their width. They're slightly wider front and rear. Cross-drilled rotors are different as well. This car came standard with non-cross-drilled rotors. Other brake upgrades include stainless steel brake lines and some performance brake pads. A few areas have already been touched up on this car. One of those areas is the side markers here. This area tends to get tacky, faded, so those have been replaced within the last year. Another area that's been replaced that also tends to show wear is this cowl trim between the windshield and the hood. That was replaced within the last year. Oftentimes you'll see this in older cars. It starts getting some dry rot. Rubber everywhere else is looking very good along the roof and the sunroof. Again, this is nice and straight. This trim is another area that tends to get some stickiness and some dry rot. That's been replaced within the last 6 months. One area that could be improved upon, that is sealed up well now, but it's been an OEM, non-OEM style fix, is back here. This rubber was cracking a little bit, and I didn't like how that looked, so I removed some of the crack pieces and replaced it with some rubber tubing. More of a temporary fix. I just haven't had time to replace this, but the future owner may want to replace this weather stripping along here. I think some internet forums have some kind of DIY style fixes that look pretty good if the rubber trim is too expensive. Again, the slightly wider wheels in the back. These are 285/30 by 19, so these are 19-inch wheels front and rear. Other deviation from stock on this car is the deck lid. This is a ducktail style lid, similar to what came on the CSL M3s. Paint quality back here is one of the weak areas of this car. Hard to capture on a black vehicle, but you can see some of the carbon weave. Again, this is a carbon fiberglass lid, and you can see the weave a little bit, and also the paint in this area. I think the clear coat just wasn't really up to the factory finish when I had it installed, and it's starting to show a little bit. A good detailer probably could polish it up and make it look okay, but again, there's some minor chipping along the edges. Just wanted to point this out so the future buyer can see it. This area probably could be touched up and made a lot better than it looks now, but just wanted to point that out. The exhaust in this car is not stock. It's a Borla exhaust. Sounds very nice. I'll do some revving videos towards the end of this. Again, this emblem on the back's been upgraded recently. Again, this is an area that starts to show some fade, and I just want to make sure I look good for the future buyer. Other small updates, again, a little thing, but this gas cap over time can start getting some leaking. So again, this is a fresh one, recently replaced. And again, you can get a sense as to how clean this car is. Very minor little nicks and dings around the car, but again, you can see I'm pretty picky when it comes to door dings, so whenever anything would accumulate, I would usually get it pulled right away. The car is very, very straight. That's good. Okay. I'll go through some things on the inside of the car. So big deviations from stock on the inside of this vehicle. This was a factory Mola red interior. You can see that on the doors, the door cards, also the back seat. The seats currently installed in the car are Recaro pole positions. They're leather. There's a bolt-in roll cage in the vehicle as well. Okay, some modifications did have to be made to get that bolt-in roll cage to fit. These side bolsters in the back where it goes into the red leather there. Did have to be modified slightly, but it was an irreversible modification. If you wanted to remove the roll bar, you could. It just would unbolt. But there would be some small notches in that leather that you might have to have an upholstery shop touch up. The seats were bolt-ins. Again, hardware was from EAS. Recaro side mounts. Mach Schnell, if that is in fact how you pronounce that German word. Billet seat mounts. And both driver's side and passenger side have sliders, so you can adjust your seat position. Okay. The center console deviates from stock slightly as well. The stock car would have an armrest. This has the armrest delete, which was a Euro option. And it also has the cup holder delete. And in its place, it has this coin holder. In that coin holder is a remote, which actually works with the head unit, which is also an upgrade. This head unit's a Dynavin style head unit. Looks just like the factory unit. It is a touch screen, which is a great improvement over the stock one, and I really like it. The nice thing about it as well is that all of the factory controls on the steering wheel continue to work as well. We'll walk over to the driver's side and we'll pop the hood, take a look. Engine on this car is stock. Only deviation really in the engine drivetrain area is just the exhaust pipe, which again was that Borla exhaust pipe. Again, the car only has 37,000 miles, so I mean it's as clean as you would expect it to be. This car came with the factory strut tower brace. I believe that wasn't standard on every year, but this year it did include it. Paint codes listed here. A few things have been done as just routine service in the engine bay as well. Another area that's common to have a problem is the windshield washer bottle here tends to leak. That's been replaced recently. Engine mount bushings have been replaced recently. Scroth 6-point harnesses come with the car as well. I know these seats probably won't be for every buyer's taste. Included in the auction is also the stock Amola red seats. Alright, let's close this door so that chiming stops. Okay. Alright. So this is an SMG car. We can tell that because it is SMG, says right here. We've got our volume button here, not for the radio, for the shifter. If you're unfamiliar with SMG, this changes the intensity of the shifts. You can think of it as how fast or slow the car lets the clutch pedal out. It is a standard 6-speed in this car, just has a hydraulically actuated clutch. Other things to note, really everything in here is not sticky. That's something else you might see in some higher mileage cars or cars that sat outside a lot. Everything is really nice to touch. Nothing feels sticky at all. Everything in here works. It slides open like you'd expect it to. Okay. I'll go through the radio system with you. It's a little bright right now, so screen might be tough to see, but again, it's touch screen, so you can navigate your way through it just by touching things. So if you want to listen to the iPod, this does have iPod integration. iPod and the hookup is in the glove box down here. This is the iPod I have running it. I'll include this with the sale of the car because I don't really have a use for it otherwise. Again, the nice thing about this factory integrated system is that if I use the steering wheel controls, you'll see that it will change what's playing. So you can raise the volume either here, or you can raise the volume on the steering wheel. Both places work, which is really, really nice. Okay. You can see the mileage. Right now we're at 37,400 and some change. You'll notice a few lights are on. Again, I've got this traction control lights on just because I recently washed the car, and I had it turned off just so that we could drive over here and get some of the water out of the wheels and things like that. One thing that will stay on though is the airbag light. In the process of installing the Recaro pole positions, I obviously had to remove the factory seats. The factory seats had a passenger occupancy sensor that's integrated into them. Very challenging to remove it without destroying the seats. So it does trip an airbag warning light because the car doesn't see the passenger occupancy sensor in place. Again, that sensor would let the car know whether someone was sitting in the seat so that it would deploy or not deploy the airbag for the passenger. Again, without that sensor in place, it just trips a light. Airbags would work as normal. The car would just default to have the airbags go off for both passenger and driver in the event of an accident. I believe that there are ways to turn that airbag light off by putting a resistor in line with the plug that's still underneath the seat. And that would let the car think that there's still a occupancy sensor, or you could in fact buy an occupancy sensor, place it underneath the padding of the passenger seat, and then it would operate just as normal. Other things to point out that the car comes with, so the home link here is included. You can sync that to your home garage door, so you don't need to have an ugly garage door. Fob hanging from your visor. Other thing to note, this car does come with the sunroof. The sunroof does work, and it has been retained even with the roll bar in place. And you can see that it opens and closes nicely. Power, of course. Okay. And you can close that too. Again, I hope I hit the highlights. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach me through the eBay auction, or I'll be monitoring this video. If you have any questions or comments about the video, I can answer those as well. But happy bidding. If you live in the Tampa area, or if you want to come down and take a look at the car, give it a test drive, that'd be great. But we'll finish with just some engine revs, because I know people want to hear what that exhaust sounds like, and it does sound pretty nice. Definitely gotta love that e46 rasp. All right, happy bidding.